Caro family Cabo. Welcome to Monday mornings. We are getting some motivation to get started through our week. Let us know you're here. Welcome back, Allison, Caro, Shannon. Blessings, Tisha, Ogboato, good to see you. Rhonda, welcome back. Rosemarika, greetings to you and welcome back. Timile, Caro, Ifemi, welcome back. Chris, Caro, Ogboato, and thank you for those prayers. Yes, peace, ease, joy, prosperity. We're calling all of that in this week. Brother John in the Boogie Down Bronx, Caro, charisma, blessings, the dove. True joy. I love that for you. K. Amaria, Caro, Asia, blessings and more blessings. Iya Yemi, whoa. Welcome back, Auntie Ogboato. Blessings, essence, peace to you, Caro. Queen of Forces, good to see you back, darling. Caro, Cabo. And welcome to Monday mornings with Iya Funlayo, where we're getting some motivation to get started through our week. As I say, each and every time we come together, if you are listening to the sound of my voice right now, I'm going to need you to give thanks. I'm going to need you to give praise. I'm going to need you to be happy and glad in your spirit, because it means, what does it mean? That you have made it into another week and another chance to walk the path towards your destiny, to fulfill all that you came to the earth to fulfill. It means that you have not looked left and you have not looked right when you're on the path to your destiny, but you are going straight. So we welcome you into a new week and a new chance and a new opportunity and new blessings. I pray for all of the blessings to just chase you this week. I don't want you to even be able to get away from your blessings. I don't want you to be able to run away from them. I don't want you to be able to mess them up. I don't want you to be able to zig when you should have zagged. I want the blessings to just catch you up, just, get on you and you can't even get away from them. Let the blessings come like that, where they just all on you, where you just can't even do nothing about it. Yes. Queen Moses Soul, blessings. Oh, so happy to have you here live for the first time. Let us know if you're here with us for the first time on a Monday. Anna, blessings. Kashia, Ogboato, give thanks for your presence. Yes, Auntie, listen, I want the blessings to catch us this week and snatch us up, and I just want us to be anointed, whether we like it or not, whether we ready for it or not. Rebecca, Lafayette, blessings. I done been blessed in immense ways that I can't even articulate. And I'm thankful and I'm grateful. And this energy that we cultivate together, the prayers that we say together, the energy that we make when we come together is a big part of that. And so I thank you all. And I pray that it radiates back to you. If you have been here before, if you're a part of the family, you already know what we do on Mondays, how we get started by giving honor to our divine selves, to our Ori, to our seat of consciousness and conscience, because we know, what does Ifa say? That whatever we need, a house, a spouse, or that money, we have to first inquire of our own head. Ifa says that anything we need, any blessing we are looking for, we have to ask ourselves first. That's powerful. Do you understand? That is powerful. That you have to ask you first. Are you ready for it? If those floodgates of heaven open up and pour all the blessings out on you, can you catch them? Are you a deep enough vessel? Are you a grounded enough vessel to hold those blessings being poured into you? And we do our prayer, we do our meditation, we do our ritual to prepare ourselves to be a landing place for the blessings. And so we give thanks for all of our rituals, for all of our modalities that we have to prepare ourselves to be a landing place for our blessings. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Touch that precious, precious head of yours as we say our chant from Otura Ogbe. Kajini kutu kutu. Kamomu ohuni pinkopin. Difafu no lomo ajibare pade lola. Emi ni mo jini kutu kutu ti mo mu ohuni pinkopin. Emi ni mo ba aje ati ire lo ni ati lola. Emi ni mo jini kutu kutu ti mo mu ohuni pinkopin. Emi ni mo ba aje ati okiki ire lo ni ati lola. Asho, asho, asho. Oh, yes, now. Woo. We know that means that when we wake up early in the morning, kajini kutu 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 kutu, early in the morning, the kutu kutu, as you've heard me say, is before the sun even comes up, that twilight, just when there's a little peak in the sky. That's the kutu kutu. When we wake up early in the morning and we give honor to our own path of destiny. When we mind the business that pays us. When we do the things that uplift and enlighten us. That it is those who do that who will meet with all good things. Not only today, but also tomorrow. It says, Emini, I am the one. Beat your chest. I am the one who wakes up early in the morning and gives honor to my path of destiny. And therefore, guess what? I'm going to be the one to meet with wealth, to meet with health, to meet with okiki ire, the recognition of my people for my good deeds. Not only today, but also tomorrow. Ashe, 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 ashe. Always remember that the work that we do for today is not only for today, but it is also for tomorrow and for the next tomorrow and for the next tomorrow. And so I pray that your prayers and your work continue to resonate in every way throughout all space and time. Ashe, 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 ashe. Efuntola, good morning. Blessings, blessings. Ooh, come on, Dove. You feeling great. I love it. I love it. I'm feeling great too. Listen, if you weren't with us on yesterday, you already know what I'm going to tell you to do. You got to go on back and holler at the replay so you can get the story with all the bells and whistles. But very briefly, the story yesterday was from Oturupan Oshe, and it talked about going back to our roots. And Orumila was traveling and had lived away from home. Ileife, okay, tase. He had lived away from that place for some time and was given a directive, very simply, that he needed to go home, that he needed to hold his annual Ifa festival in the place of his birth. And so he went back to Oketase, and he didn't just go back, but he moved back. He took all of his things and he went, and he trusted that Spirit was sending him back home for a reason. And he was getting blessings where he was, and he was having a good time where he was. He wasn't struggling. He wasn't running back home because there was any problem, but it was because he was given a directive. And it turned out that that was the right thing to do, because when he got back to Oketase and he had his Ifa festival, there were immense blessings, and people came from the town that he had left telling him that bad things had happened there, that thieves had come there, that houses had been robbed and burned and all these things had happened, but that he was not there to experience that, but that he had listened to what Spirit told him. So he was able to avoid those calamities. He was able to avoid having any of his items damaged. He was able to avoid having things stolen. He was able to avoid having to fight somebody, come on, when they tried to break up in his crib. He was able to avoid all of that just by listening to the directive of Spirit. That'll preach. That's a word right there. Just by listening. Fafumike Ogbata, sorry, what you want food. Best math teacher in Merlin. Yes, good to see you this morning, darling. just by listening to the directive of spirit. And so I love this story because, as we shared yesterday, it wasn't divination. It wasn't somebody else telling him. And we know divination is important. Y'all know I be advocating for getting our readings. But I'm also an even bigger advocate, right, for listening to our spirit and for knowing when it's time. Like last week, we talked about when it's time to fold them, when it is time to make a move, when it is time to do something different. Our spirit tells us. We know things begin to close down, things begin to shift, things begin to move in a certain way. And we can either listen to the directive or fight against it. And part of the problem that many of us have is that we fight the directives because we're comfortable. And that's why it was so important in the story to say that Arumila was comfortable where he was. He was making money. He was having success. A lot of times we equate going back to where we're from or going back to a previous state of being as a failure, that we're running back because something didn't go right or because, we didn't find what we were looking for where we were going. Sometimes we find exactly what we were looking for and we get exactly what we were supposed to get in that place. And then spirit says, yes, this place has run its course and it's time for you to go elsewhere. And sometimes that elsewhere is a new elsewhere. And sometimes that elsewhere is back to where we came from. And so it's so very important for us to understand when it's time for those things and not to feel any shame in it, not to feel any hesitation in it, to know that those blessings are there. And remember as well, we said that this isn't always about a physical place. Sometimes it's going back to a practice or something that we used to do. This is giving big Six of Cups energy for my tarot folks, right? The nostalgia, going back to something that made us happy, going back to something that we used to do, going back to something that empowers us, going back to something that uplifted us and that regenerated our spirit. And one of the things actually, so recently, as you know, I think last week, right, I was broadcasting from the Ile of my dear friend, Priestess Sharifa. Shout out to her. We did a Misa white table ceremony, which was really beautiful. And one of the messages that actually came up there was that because a lot of hymns were coming up, and y'all know I love my tambourine. And we had a tambourine in the Misa for the first time, right? The ancestors insisted that she go get a tambourine for us to use during the service. And so as we were holding the service, we were both channeling messages. And one of the biggest messages that came through me was that some of the folks present needed to go to church, needed to sing some hymns, needed to connect to the divine in that way, because the ancestors whose names they were calling, listen to me, the ancestors whose names they are calling, that is the modality that those ancestors knew. That is the modality that got those ancestors stirred up. They didn't know Yoruba. They didn't know the Yoruba ancestral songs, but they know victory is mine. Victory is mine. Right? They know that. And so there was a directive that they had to go back to singing some of those songs and go back to saying certain prayers and go back to relating to spirit in that way, and understanding that a lot of the way that we relate to spirit has to do with the way that those spirits receive things. This is why we speak, right, Yoruba to the Orisha. This is why we speak Creole to the Lua. This is why we speak Akan to Tree to the Akan spirits, right? We speak the language. We speak the language that they understand. And so the language that many of our most immediate ancestors understand is the language of the hymns, is the language of the Proverbs, is the language of the Psalms, which they recited. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Preparing a table for me in the midst of my enemies, anointing my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely, goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life. Yes, surely, surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life. Ashe, 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 ashe. So these are some of the things that we may have to return to, the practices. And I want us to understand that because we take on a new practice, doesn't mean that we have to abandon our old practice. And I'll tell you this for myself, and I'm telling you, I'm always preaching to myself. I'm not telling you nothing that isn't resonating for me. When I got initiated, my Odu Ogunda Onrin, Ogunda Isheshe, talks about not abandoning. It says that I should not abandon the ways of my mothers and my fathers. Now, of course, I'm getting initiated in Yoruba tradition. I was like, oh, yes, this is me coming back to the ways of my mothers and my fathers. But that's not who they were talking about. That is not who they were talking about. They were talking about my wood great-great-great-great-grandmother who was down in the dismal swamp in her whites, carrying her big Bible, leading her people to freedom. They were talking about my aunts and grandmothers and uncles who were deacons, who were singing the hymns in the pews. They were talking about, right, those ancestors. They were talking about the ones whose names I know and who I call. Because the ones who were practicing ancestral traditions as we're practicing from Yoruba and the Akan and all of these other traditions, I don't know their names. I know that they're in me, but I'm not calling their names on a daily basis. But the ones whose names I was calling and I am calling every day, Mamie Helen Shepherd, by John Woody, by Reverend Ralph Tosin Hoyce III, by they knew the hymns, they knew the psalms, they knew these things. And so as we get ready to move into this week, know that our traditions have no issue with us doing everything, right? African traditions are multivalent. Somebody needs to hear this morning that just because you are practicing African spirituality now doesn't mean that you have to wholesale reject everything else that came before. Doesn't mean that you have to reject the hymns you used to sing. Doesn't mean you have to reject the prayers you used to say. Maybe you were practicing Buddhism and doing meditation. Keep doing it. Don't feel that now because you are practicing African spirituality, you can't do that. Another quick story I'll tell you, and I know I've shared this with you before, is that one of the first spiritual experiences I had was with the Hindu deity Shiva. And when I came into Orisha, I stopped connecting with Shiva. And let's tell you how spirit work. Listen, you can't get away. Don't matter where you go, what kind of way you connecting with spirit. I was in Peru. Listen to this story. I was in Peru to work with La Madre Ayahuasca. Okay, however many miles away from India, anywhere that Shiva is connected to. In Peru, I went into the ceremonial space in Peru. I sat down in the ceremonial space and I looked up, and what was there but a gigantic painting of Shiva, painted by the shaman who had channeled that energy. Did I know that was going to be there? No, not at all. And I sat down and I looked at the painting, and during the ceremony, I had an experience where Shiva came and said to me, "You forgot about me." He said, "I was the first one you connected with and you forgot about me. There's still room for me." There's still room for me. And so there is an altar in this shrine room with the Orishas, with the ancestors, with the mothers to Shiva, because he was one of my roots and one of my foundations. The idea of creation, sustenance, and destruction, and the cycles that repeats. And so, again, as we go into our week, this week, I want you to reclaim a practice. I want you to think back right now about something that you used to do, something that you used to say, a song you used to sing, something that used to make your heart happy, something that used to uplift you, a place you used to go. And I want you to connect with that this week. I want you to connect with something that used to empower you, and I want you to see it anew this week. I want you to let it reinvigorate you this week. I want you to let it bring you new blessings and a new portion this week. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Blessings to you, Angela. Good to see you this morning. Let's see what message Spirit has for us. You already know how they be talking. Let's see what they have for us. We are using Priestess Sharifa's Shaksaki Congo deck this morning. I have just a few left. This second edition is almost gone. So if you've been thinking about getting you one, don't wait on it because they almost gone. And you know the messages be hitting. Spirit, what is the message for the Ashe Ire family this week? Community is our message for the week. This is beautiful. Before I even pick up the book, what is coming through is the community of spirits, of practices, right? Of recognizing that we don't have to eliminate one thing because we pick up something else. It all exists in an ecosystem and in a community of practice. The spirits exist in a community. You know, I always say our divinities roll deep. They roll in community. They don't say you got to choose between Obatala and Oshun. They don't say you got to choose between Ogun and Eshu. They all up in here. We chilling. We doing it. Come on, Tiffany, starting the yoga again this week. I love it. Beautiful, beautiful. Queen Moses says, I used to do a lot of water work I haven't done in a while. Oh, yes, get back to working with that Omi Tutu, Queen. Ashe, Ashe. Sharon, good to see you. Give thanks. Listen, right? All of our practices work in tandem. We don't only eat or only sleep or only bathe, right? We do all of it. All of these practices exist in a community with each other. So again, don't think that because you're doing one practice, that means that you can't do another. Don't think that because you're doing, you've committed one way doesn't mean that you can't engage. And now don't get it twisted, right? Everything has its place. And we do things in decency and in order, as our good Baptist ancestors would say. But right, know that we don't have to pick and choose between what we're doing. We can walk multiple paths and we can be multivalent, and we are multivalent. We got 208 bones. We got millions and billions of cells and atoms and different types of tissues within us. We are a community, right? Our very existence, our very essence, our very bodies are a community. Sharon, restarting meditation practice. Come on now. I love it. Yes, yes. Go back to your roots. Go back to the things that uplift you. Community says, when it rains, it doesn't rain on one person's roof. As African people and children of the diaspora, we know the importance of community. We know that an individual is only as good as the community and vice versa. We know that our role in a community gives meaning to our existence. As we navigate through a westernized structure, a framework that promotes individualism over the whole, we must be diligent in functioning as a collective and resist the idea that one person's well-being trumps the well-being of the whole. Other meanings. Small act, chop big tree. All communities fall short, but you have the power to make change. It starts with you. Our experiences within communities teach us about ourselves. Take note of the influence. Each one, teach one. Share with those whom you love and care for. Check the vibe of your tribe. Are you connecting with the right people? Are you connecting with people who help to empower you and to sip your tea, time, energy, and attention well? Or are you connected with people who feel draining or disempowering? Are you judging the community you're a part of too harshly, as though it's not made up of human beings just like you, right? Everybody falls short. Everybody falls short from time to time, but how much grace, right, are you able to give? Those are all questions. Dig deeper with a few other questions. How does your community reflect who you are and who you are not? How do you recognize the overlap of communities you may belong to? And how do you hold space for yourself while navigating different circles? Do you realize and recognize that it is okay, not only okay, but necessary for you to navigate different circles? Do you give yourself the freedom to navigate different circles, circumstances, and places, or are you keeping yourself unnecessarily locked in to one thing? So these are all questions to ask yourself. What is your present role in the community? Who are you to your community? Are you a healer? Are you an artist? Are you a teacher? Are you a nurturer? Who are you, right? What is the role that you play? And is it the role that you really desire to play? Is it playing into your deepest strengths, your deepest joys, right? What is that role? So these are all questions to ask ourselves this week. And this is a time as well this week to cultivate community, to connect with those with whom we worship. Remember that spirituality is not a solitary practice. Life is not a solitary practice. Let's start there, right? One hand cannot clap, one leg cannot run fast. One buttock cheek cannot sit well on the mat. We are not solitary beings at all. We are social animals. So do you have a community? Do you need a community? Do you need to connect with people? What is it that is needed in this moment? Spirit is asking you to contemplate that as well. Our crystal ally for the week. Let us see, what is the crystal ally for the week, Spirit? What is the crystal ally for the Ashe Ray family for this week? Crystal ally, Sodalite. Okay, we all up in that throat chakra. Yes, we are expressing ourselves. We are saying the things that need to be said. We are praying over ourselves out loud. We are stimulating ourselves in every way. Intentionality, conscious awareness, an awakened state, inner knowing, self-confidence, and clear expression of intentions. Sodalite. Yes, this is actually one of my favorites. One of the first crystals I started working with. One of my very favorites. Clear expression of intentions. Clear expression of intentions. This goes, Spirit's bringing to me, this goes along with community, because I'm going to talk about us for a moment. Clutch your pearls. Some of us want community, but we don't know how to be good community members. Some of us want relationships, but we don't know how to relate. Being in community is not just about what you're going to get. It's about what you're bringing. It's about sharing your gifts. And that's why it's important, the question that asks, who are you in the community? That's a question asking you to consider what you are bringing, right? What are you bringing to the community? What do you want to contribute, right? Many people say they want a partner and they're only thinking about what the partner's going to do for them. Well, what kind of partner do you plan to be? Many people want a community and they're only thinking about what the community is going to do for them. What do you intend to contribute? What do you want your part to be? Because everybody has a part to play. You don't have to be an initiated person to contribute to a community. And so what part do you desire to play in the community that you belong to? And expressing that intention clearly is very important. And Sodalite is bringing that for us this week. Hey, our resident crystal expert, Chris. Sodalite, enhancing communication, logic, and intuition by balancing the mind and the emotions. Big throat chakra energy. Yes, indeed. So we're balancing mind, spirit, emotions, right? All of that being in balance and then being expressed clearly. Big energy of Sodalite. Says a state of conscious awareness is the key to clearly communicating your intentions to the universe. The message of this crystal is to be fully awake as you make choices, large and small, that will influence your well-being. It's when we fall asleep to our spiritual nature and connection with the universal consciousness that old habits return and we forget our commitment to personal transformation. Sodalite has appeared to help you wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, and notice whether you are becoming complacent or not following through with the things you promised yourself. Say that again. Sodalite has appeared to help you wake up and notice whether you are becoming complacent and not following through with the things you promised yourself. The things you promised yourself. Not the things you told anybody else you was going to do. Not the things anybody else tried to make you do or guilt you into. But the things you told yourself you were going to do. Are you following through with you? Right? Are you following through with you? Are you following through with the things that you said you were going to do? The practices you said you were going to take up. The consistency you said you were going to show for yourself. Are you following through? Do you have an easier time following through when you promise somebody else something than when you promise yourself? That's something to examine as well this week. Now is the time to reconnect with the conscious universe so that Sodalite can magnify your awareness, helping you recognize whether your conscious and subconscious intentions are in sync so that you do not get in your own way as you create what you desire. Ashe, ashe. Sodalite teaches us to be here now rather than lost in the past or gazing into the future. Meditation with this stone allows us to experience the wisdom of our journey thus far. It encourages non-attachment and the integration of all experiences. So that's very important, to be here now, to be here now, to be here now, to be here now. Looking at things as they are. Not as we want them to be, not as we fantasize them to be, not as we imagine them to be, but as they are. Looking at ourselves as we are, not the fantasy image that we're projecting of ourselves, but who we actually are. Looking at other people as who they actually are, right? Within community, not putting people on a pedestal. I say all the time, listen, I am a human being. Please don't put me up there because it's a long fall. I don't want to be on no pedestal. It's a long fall from up there. I'm still a human being. As we all are, I'm still navigating. I might be a few steps ahead on certain journeys, but I'm still navigating. And there are other parts of the journey where I am still a baby as well, right? So we give each other grace. That's a part of what this is about as well, seeing things as they are. Chris says, yes, Sodalite will check you, but very gently, so you don't feel some type of way while you straighten yourself out. Gentle yet powerful energy. All right now, so get y'all some. This is a good one to work with this week. Alicia says, you told me this a few years ago and it has been coming up a lot recently. This is just confirming that I am on the right path. Give thanks. You are so welcome. I'm always glad when the messages continue to resonate. The messages continue to resonate. Whatever spirit brings through for you is for you. So know that those messages will continue to resonate. Family, you know I love you and I want you to have a beautiful week. If you have felt blessed by your presence this morning, you're lovingly invited to participate in the ministry of giving. You can do that right here on YouTube. You can also do so via Cashapp, $ Iya Funlayo, at Ashe for Venmo, and using Funlayo at asheire.com for PayPal and Zelle. We give thanks for each and every cent and seed that you sow into the ministry. I give thanks and I lift up everyone who gave offerings yesterday. And as always, I remind you, that the most important thing you have is not your money, but it is your tea, your time, your energy, and your attention. So please, 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 only spend those in places and with people who uplift you, in places and with people who help you to reconnect with your roots and the things that are important to you, in places and with people who help you to express yourself clearly and who are in loving community with you. We're in places and with people who are balm to your soul and who help to bring joy. Ashe, ashe, ashe. If you are new to the family, or even if you're not new, go on over to asheray.com because you can register right now for the 8th annual Black Spirit Solstice Summit. Happening December 20th. It's going to be here before we know it. I can't believe it's already November. Like, the year 2025 was just like, yeah, I'm going to just dip in and dip out right quick. So we are very much looking forward. We have beautiful workshops. We have a workshop on Tantra and sacred sexuality. We have mindful journaling. We have Ifa affirmations. We have altar building. We have Akashic activation. Like, it's going to be litty. It's litty every year, but I'm going to say, 8 is about the last number. So it's going to be extra litty this year. And I have to say that Spirit directed this year that all of the speakers should be women. So it's going to be some big mama. It's going to be some big mama energy up in the place. So we are very much excited and looking forward to that. Super early bird ended yesterday, but the early bird is on and popping right now. So y'all get those early bird tickets and be there with us. It's going to be a beautiful time. Go on and have a beautiful week, family. Go on and have a beautiful week. I love you and there ain't nothing you can do about it. I want you to feel powerful, to feel wonderful this week as you build community, as you clearly express your intentions, as you go back to your empowering practices, as you do all of that. Be great as you do it. So, hey. Oh, Dabo family, have a beautiful week.